Vimlentu Jha, environmentalist and CEO of Green Map, is joining us now. Also with us is Vaishali Rana, environmentalist and conservationist, trustee at the Aravalli Bachao Citizens Movement. I want to get Vaishali's first reaction to what the Environment Minister has just said. He said that there are lies being put out. He also said that the construction area is 0.19% and there is nothing to worry. This is all speculation or propaganda, in his words.
But we have already given multiple examples and reports and representations at Centrally Empowered Committee, the CEC, where illegal mining is going on in the Aravallis in Haryana. And also we had a petition filed in NGT, where there was an order given last year in 2024, where multiple illegal mining sites were reported, and Haryana state was instructed to submit an action plan report to control, stop, seize the illegal mining, and a mitigation plan to be submitted for the damages that have been done. It has been more than a year and no report has been submitted in the illegal mining matter. Just in last month in November to CEC, we submitted a very elaborate, detailed report where in Charkhi Dadri mining is going on as we speak today, right now, where they have violated all the environmental claims. By the way, in Charkhi Dadri, the mining is legal, but Mr. Bhupendra Yadav said that there's no mining happening in Haryana, and mining is not allowed in Haryana. But in Haryana, in Charkhi Dadri, mining licenses are officially being given out, and mining is happening in Charkhi Dadri.
Not just Haryana, Rajasthan as well. Sharad just showed us that there are tenders floated and there are crushers he saw on site.
Yes. And there are 3 examples, like in Charkhi Dadri, where the miners are violating all their environmental clearances. They have burst open the underground aquifers, and the mining pits have gone much below the underground aquifers. There are channels and streams which are coming out, and the pits are filled up with water, and they're using suction pumps to drain out the water so they can go further down. All these reports have been submitted in CEC, but CEC is not talking about it. And then just last year we had a tiger which from Sariska Tiger Reserve National Park, it came to Haryana in Rewari, and for a month he was camped here in Rewari. So the CEC report also says the areas where mining cannot be allowed. They say that buffer zones of national parks, tiger corridors. But this have they defined the tiger corridors? My point is, a tiger from Sariska is traversing all the way to Haryana. We have multiple tiger corridors like this.
Okay.
None of them have been identified. So the wetlands, earlier they submitted a report. They said 2 kilometers radius from a wetland, no mining will be allowed. They watered it down and they said 500 meters. No mining will be allowed in 500 meters from a wetland. So this is how they watered down everything.
All right, Vimlentu Jha, when it comes to the ecosystem, it's a complex issue. A lot of understanding is still to be seen. Of course, reports on the ground are showing a very grim picture. Activists are also up in arms, and activists seem to be united on this issue across states. It's not one organization, right? What Sharad sent, the report that he showed us from Alwar, to what Vaishali is pointing out in Haryana, to what we are seeing in other states as well. But help me understand this. How does depletion of Aravalli impact the air and the AQI of the country directly? What exactly is the connection?
So, Sonal, I think your report was exhaustive enough, as in it's not just the air that gets affected because of a depleted or a depleting or further depletion of Aravallis in that sense, because what we need to understand that almost 25% of Aravallis has already disappeared because of illegal mining. And as you rightly said, that imagine if 25% depletion has taken place or plundering has taken place when the mining was actually illegal. Imagine when these so-called redefinition takes place, and when the entire Aravalli, almost 90% of Aravallis, is going to become expendable. Now, connecting that to not just one ecosystem phenomena called air and control of air, fine, we can do that. But reality, as you said, that it's not just that, it's also climate, it's also water sustainability, it's the heat stress, it's overall ecology of the entire area that actually in many, many ways, directly and indirectly, is defined. The feature that we're talking about, the weather pattern that we're talking about, everything is defined defined by this natural resource called Aravalli. As in, it might just look as if these are not as grand as the Himalayas, because not every mountain range has to be a particular, cutoff or a threshold. Everything has a relevance. A lake has a relevance, and therefore a river has a relevance, and an ocean also has a relevance. With regard to air, as in, it's very, very important for us to understand that this entire corridor that we have, as in, if you look at the expanding Thar, so one of the things that we talk about is that desertification or furthering of desertification that can only be blocked by this vegetation, the natural vegetation ecosystem that exists between the Thar and this particular region. And mostly in the sense, of course, we're talking about cities like Delhi, but entire area of Indo-Gangetic, in a very, very strategic way for almost 2 billion years have been largely protected because of this corridor. Also, as in one is the entire, the sand and the dust from the other area, but also in terms of sink that we're talking about. At the end of the day, right now, imagine when the entire Delhi NCR is gasping for breath, and we're talking about air quality, and we're looking at, and in the same breath, when the honorable minister was talking about so-called plantation, just because you would perhaps plant a lakh trees more, that does not give you a license to further to degrade the Aravallis in that sense. And if you look at historically, if you look at major milestones, by the way, Sonal, in terms of something which was actually banned in 2009 or something which was banned in 1990, how can it actually be appropriate to really plunder further in 2024 or 2025?
Sure, I get your point, but I very quickly want to find this out from Vaishali. Vaishali, we keep, attacking the government and saying they've done this, but the fact is this order came from the Supreme Court. Supreme Court must have heard both sides. So what's happening there? Were you not able to make your case? What exactly was the rationale behind Supreme Court allowing it? It's a massive order with a lot of implications.
Yes, the point is, and the surprising part is that in 2010, the same Supreme Court, a report was submitted where they had spoken of a 100-meter definition for Aravallis, and Supreme Court had not accepted it in 2010. So what happened in these 15 years that now they have accepted it? That time Supreme Court in its order very, very clearly stated that this definition was not acceptable, and they said that a technical agency should be involved, like Forest Survey of India, and they should come back with a satellite imagery and everything where they talk of, where they define the Aravallis, and they did not accept the 100-meter definition. So that time when it was rejected, what happened that this time it is accepted? And at Aravalli Bachao Citizen Movement, we are doing a due diligence and we're preparing our PIL. Let's see, very soon we would be filing it also. And another thing that I have to point out, like here, when we were talking about, so they have Central Empowered Committee also, when they submitted a report last year, they defined the areas where mining would be allowed and where it should not be allowed, like what I was talking about just some time back. So, so when I said that mining cannot be allowed in plantation areas for Haryana specifically, if I talk, so any area which comes under plantation, CAMPA funds are the compensatory plantation funds that every state receives. So any area which comes under CAMPA or where state government has put in money to do plantation, mining would not be allowed here. But in Haryana, almost all Aravallis come under CAMPA. Almost practically almost
you're
all
right,
Aravallis.
and I think those pictures of protests are speaking 1,000 words here. So let's wait and watch on what exactly happens here. And let's see, I don't know if there is a follow-up petition on this.
Yeah, this is the protest we did day before yesterday.
Yeah, but I don't know if this is going back to the Supreme Court, because that's the only way we find a solution here, because government has limited role to play in this. It is just an order that they are following from the Supreme Court. But I have to thank you both for the moment for joining us on this discussion.